Good evening. Last spring, river flooding impacted many communities along the Mississippi River.
Meteorologist John Ross spoke with a National Weather Service hydrologist who says this flood season is off to an early start along the Ohio River.
Last year we had flood season start early, and we're doing the same thing again this year.
Psychologically, I'm sure it weighs on people when it, continuously comes up year after year.
Mary Lamb, a hydrologist with a National Weather Service office in Paducah, says our river flooding is a part of a bigger pattern that has brought a lot of moisture to the region.
As far as it becoming common, we've just been in a very wet pattern for well over a year now. We've had very wet seasons since late 2018.
Massac County engineer Joe Matasevic says last year's flooding put more than half a dozen roads underwater. But he emphasizes that Massac isn't the only county that has been dealing with river flooding.
Massac County is just one of the half dozen or dozen counties along these rivers in southern Illinois that has to deal with it every year. So,
both the Mississippi and Ohio rivers can have big impacts on counties in our area.
It really depends on where the heavy rain falls, whether it falls in the Mississippi Basin or whether it falls in the Ohio Basin or a combination of the two, maybe somewhere in between. That really determines, which river may be higher or have both up at the same time.
Even though we haven't seen much this year, snow is also a factor.
Later this spring, when, snow melts from the north and comes down the Ohio and Mississippi rivers, and if we do end up getting a wetter spring and we get a lot more rainfall, there could be, some issues again.
Lamb says it can largely impact river levels.
But as far as our spring flood outlook, a lot of what we do look at is rainfall and snowfall, especially that has fallen across the northern parts of the basin. And how that all melts out through the spring will also determine, the height of our rivers.
John Ross, News 3.
The Ohio River at Paducah is currently above moderate flood stage. Lamb says many smaller rivers around western Kentucky are dealing with backwater from the rising level of the Ohio.